We do start with the death of retired Pope Benedict, coming just days after Pope Francis said his predecessor was very sick. ABC's Terry Moran has covered the Vatican for years and joins us now live this morning. Terry, good morning to you.
Good morning. With the news came this morning that Pope Benedict XVI had died at 9:34 a.m. local time in Rome after Pope Francis earlier this week had asked for prayers for his predecessor. And now the world will mourn, millions of people around the world mourning a man who championed a fierce conservative and traditionalist view of the church, but who changed the modern papacy by one of the most radical acts any pope has ever done, resigning. Around the world are mourning the passing of a quiet man of fierce faith who changed the modern papacy by leaving it. Pope Benedict XVI, elected to lead the Catholic Church in 2005 after the death of Pope John Paul II, stunned the world just 8 years later when he became the first pope to resign in 600 years since Gregory XII in 1415. He was 85 years old and he said his health was declining. In the days after the announcement, thousands gathered in St. Peter's Square to bid Benedict farewell, each cardinal saying a personal goodbye to their leader and their brother. And for the first time, the world witnessed the end of a papacy on live television, history in the making. Soon those cardinals would choose a new pope. Benedict leaving the Vatican by helicopter for a sunset tour of Rome, beginning, as he put it, the last leg of his pilgrimage on earth. As the Vatican's famed Swiss guards laid down their arms and those giant doors to Castel Gandolfo closed, Benedict's rule officially came to an end. When he was elected in 2005, Benedict became the first German pope in nearly 1,000 years. Born Joseph Ratzinger in a small town in southern Germany in 1927, he grew up under Nazi rule and during World War II, when he was forced into the Hitler Youth Movement and later into the German army, where he witnessed the rounding up of Jews and the beating of Catholic priests. After the war, Ratzinger entered the priesthood and became a prominent Catholic theologian and influential teacher, rising over the years to the rank of cardinal. Cardinal Ratzinger was one of Pope John Paul II's closest confidants, his chief authority on church doctrine, and enforcer of a conservative vision for the church, God's Rottweiler, he was dubbed by some Catholic liberals. He was John Paul's logical successor, but without his friend's enormous charisma. But 3 years into his papacy, on his first visit to the U.S.,
I'm happy to be here as a guest of all Americans. I come as a friend.
Americans got to know him up close and began appreciating his eccentricities, like those regal robes and signature red shoes, and his differences from John Paul. His meetings with victims of sex abuse perpetrated by priests and covered up for years by the church
Causes deep shame.
were also well received, but the issue cast a long shadow over his papacy. Anger grew after reports that Benedict himself, when he was Archbishop of Munich in the 1970s and 80s, had failed to remove priests who abused children. On matters of personal morality, Benedict took a hard line, reaffirming the church's traditional teachings regarding contraception, abortion, and the celibate all-male priesthood. But this was a pope who also preached widely on the centrality of love and hope in the Catholic faith. When he stepped down in 2013, Benedict pledged his unconditional obedience to the next pope. And as Pope Emeritus, he kept that promise, lending the more progressive Pope Francis his support. And this morning, the Vatican has announced that Pope Benedict will lie in state in St. Peter's Basilica and that his funeral will be held in St. Peter's Square on January 5th, presided over by Pope Francis. And in accordance with Benedict's wishes, it will be a simple affair. Janae?
And he preached love and hope, as you said there, Terry. Appreciate you this morning.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.